Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do a book flip through for you in my emoji face. I am going to do a book flip through of Crazy Sexy Kitchen by Kris Carr and Sarno. So without further ado, let's begin the review. Crazy Sexy Kitchen by Kris Carr and Chef Sarno. This book is full of information. In the beginning, Kris Carr talks about her life growing up with her family, the inspiration she got from her grandmother. She talks about the cancer that she's had and that she's living with. And actually she says that she is thriving with. That's her when she was younger and growing up with her family. And then she works with Sarno in this book in producing these recipes, and he is a Whole Foods culinary educator for the Healthy Eating Program. Then there's also some guest chefs that have included some of their recipes. This lady Sarma has a restaurant in New York based on raw vegan food. I'm actually going to do a review on a recipe book that I have of hers. And then here she talks about lifestyle and philosophy, about eating plants and not eating animals, about the standard American diet, which is acronymed as SAD, which is sad because, a lot of the diseases and overweight are because of that SAD diet. Inflammation, which is a big, problem, that when people have inflammation in their body, and acidification, which comes from proteins of animals, it leads to the diseases that we know of, the heart disease, the cancers, the diabetes, all of that. The obesity, that's also a disease. Sugar is awful. Dairy is awful. Your blood pH, you could always buy a strip and measure your blood pH every morning with your urine, and you should have a healthy body range should be between 6 and 7.5, which is mostly alkaline, and actually 7 would be ideal. And eating raw, a lot of the foods that you eat should be raw. They still have all their nutritional information intact, and they're not killed in the cooking process. Now some things like tomatoes release lycopene only when they're cooked, so some things are good when they're cooked. And then she talks about the crazy sexy benefits of eating a plant-based diet, and as you can see here, fighting weight is one of the main things, that as long as you don't eat a junk food vegan diet, right? And then eating this way is also helping our planet, of course the animals. There's a lot of toxins and chemicals that flow into our waters, and the pollution in the air from these agri-farms and is just awful. The pesticides, the hormone use for these poor animals. It's just making us and the planet sick. And then she talks about, supplementing, B12. Of course, a vegan diet. A lot of people ask you, where do you get your protein? But as long as you eat enough calories, you get plenty of protein. You do not need animal products for protein. That is a total myth. And then she talks about the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So if, buying all organic is difficult financially, then she lists 12 foods that should definitely be organic because you eat the skins, basically. And then you know, learn to flavor your food with herbs and spices. Then she talks about tools that are useful in the kitchen. Of course, you don't have to have them. You can use what you have, but these would be helpful. And then we get into kitchen know-how, you know, the lingo and cooking and prepping methods. And she describes how you do each of these so that, you know, in the recipe, if it mentions that, you know what it is. She always has little boxes like this with tips, which are really awesome, you know. I mean, here she says to salt or not to salt. You know, salt pulls moisture from beans, so wait until they're almost tender, then add salt to the cooking water. You'll avoid adding too much sodium, which would just get lost during the cooking process. So these awesome little tips that she gives every now and then. Pressure cooker and how cutting the time of cooking these beans greatly by using a pressure cooker. I have an Instant Pot and I just love my Instant Pot. Cutting techniques. And then she has recipe symbols. So we'll see in the recipes it will say 1 for easy, 2 for chefy, so a little more adventuresome, and then a quick you know, meal prepare, gluten-free, soy-free, R for raw, kid-friendly. And now we get into the recipes. So we start with juices. She has lots of delicious recipes for all these amazing juices, smoothies. And smoothies, of course, keep the fiber of the fruit and vegetable intact. So you get the benefit of fiber with smoothies. Breakfast items. I mean, these pictures are just so beautiful, and the recipes are so delicious. French toast. Who doesn't love French toast? Look how delicious this looks. Chickpea crepe. Yum. Then you have notes from some of the, you know, the chefs. They'll write their little notes to help you out. Avocado toast, soups and stews. You know, more hearty meals to make you feel satisfied. Delicious pho. I love pho. Miso soup. Yum. Sandwiches and wraps, including burgers, quesadilla, pita pizzas, tuna salad, which of course is not real tuna. Look at these gorgeous maki rolls. You don't have to eat fish to enjoy sushi. And then dumplings. And here she shows you how to create the little pleated things on the dumplings. Walnut falafel and salads. Of course, this is where you would get a lot of your raw food in. I mean, look how vibrant and beautiful that is. Asian noodle with black vinaigrette. That sounds really interesting. And then main meals. As if the hearty stews and soups weren't main enough, here's some main meals. Squash pasta. So of course this is with spiralized zucchini rather than pasta. Not that you couldn't have pasta, but if it's whole, 100% whole wheat, then that's best. Unless you're gluten-free, then of course you'd have to have a different type of grain, one that's gluten-free. Pad Thai with kelp noodles. Kelp noodles are like 0 calories. I mean, this is so delicious because of the cashew cream cheese. I tried it once and it was really, really good. This looks like a pretty hearty meal right there. Lasagna. And then side dishes. Tabbouleh, garlicky mushrooms. Semi-dried tomatoes. So you know when you cook tomatoes, it releases the lycopene, which is a very important nutrition. But when you eat the tomatoes raw, I don't believe the lycopene is present there. So it's good to have cooked foods sometimes, especially if you like pasta and you make marinara. Here we have dressings, marinades, and condiments. Asian marinade. I love the Asian flavors. Miso citrus. Well, that looks like a delicious dip right there. Sprouted lentil and heirloom salsa. Popcorn. So these are the snacks and munchies. Edamame. Fresh citrus olives. Yellow corn chips, curried cashews, maple candied pecans. I mean, it's not like you're going to deprive yourself eating this way. In fact, you'll probably love everything you eat. Sweet seduction. So here we have, desserts. Who said a vegan diet is boring? Absolutely not. I've been vegan for about 14 years. I do have make an exception and I have honey, but I've never felt better in all my life. And here she has magnificent menus, so if you need ideas, here's recipes that take 30 minutes or less, keeping it light and bright. Family night, smoothie, popcorn, pizza, Caesar salad, super easy chocolate pie, eating on a budget. I mean, so many different kinds of, meal plans where she just takes you right to the menu, or to the recipe rather. And then some resources, conversion charts, and here's the index. And that is it. I highly recommend this book. It is awesome. Crazy Sexy Kitchen.